Hello again, it's Sue. Back with another, hopefully it's a quick tutorial for you. I've just had quite a few ladies ask me how I do the hinges when I hinge my pages for my journals, if I do add hinges. So I'm not sure whether you saw this flip through this pianola roll journal, I'm calling it. And because of the size of it, it's 11.5 inches high. A lot of the pages I did actually need to hinge so that I could, get them going the right way, because I didn't want all the pages to be going the wrong way. So I'm not sure what's happening with my camera setup. It's I have to get my partner to have a look at it. I can't seem to get it to stand up properly, so we're pretty close, but it will work. So as you can see, well, I hope you can see, this is actually a hinged page. Most of the pages in this journal have been hinged. Let's see if I can find, so this one here you can see has been hinged. So basically what I wanted to do was just go through that quickly with you, what I did to do that. So so these tags I hinged as well. So I thought I'd just do a couple of pages and just run through that with you. It's a really easy process, but when you tear out of, some notebooks, they come with it's glued up the top, so you can't undo a signature in a notebook and get your full page. So you end up with 2 pages like this. So maybe you want to hinge that so you've got writing going horizontally in your journal. So you can do that. You can do, these are just some, what do you call these? Index cards that have been very heavily coffee dyed. So, you can hinge them this way. So they go in your book like that. Or you can hinge them in this way if you've got a larger book. You can hinge them that way and even fold them in so they flip out. So I thought we'll just do something like that. And then this is just some writing paper as well that I had. So, I'll just show you on a few pieces what you can actually do. So normally what I do, just under all this mess, I've got to get my guillotine out. So normally what I would do is I would cut, for the hinges first of all, what I prefer to do is, you can use washi tape. There's nothing wrong with that, but this is just how I prefer to do for extra strength. So coffee dye paper or any sort of standard weight paper is pretty good. Or you can use a cardstock or a lighter weight cardstock as well. So this is just something that I've had for ages and I haven't used. So what I normally do is just cut strips. So with an A4 sheet of paper, so that's pretty much the perfect height that we need for these sheets here. So what I would do is I'd come across here and I'd cut, I've just got to think, is it 1 inch or 1.5 inches? Let me just have a measure of that and we'll see. Is it 1 inch or 1.5 inches? No, it's only 1 inch. So if you cut your hinges at 1 inch, you can cut them wider if you want to. 1 inch by the height of the piece of paper that you're wanting to hinge. You could even actually do it at 1.25 inches. Do them at 1.25 inches, just to give a little bit more room to play with. So normally I like to, and if they're not cut straight, it doesn't matter. It's a junk journal after all. What was I going to say? I normally like to hinge one side as well as the other side. Another way you can use to hinge your pages, you can use fabric. And then you'd have like a nice frayed edge. So this is just, I'll just show you this one. So this is just using coffee dyed paper. So generally what I do is I normally try and fold this in half first, just so you get a general idea of where the center is. And once again, if it's not folded perfectly, it doesn't matter. You don't see a lot of it. It does add interest to your journal, because you're going, well, I'm going to stitch. Now, you don't have to stitch as well, but I like to sew mine just because I like having all those threads hanging. So I'm going to hinge on the inside, and I'm going to hinge on the outside as well. So just fold, roughly fold, and this is why coffee dyed paper or paper is good, because you can just do it without having to really use a scoreboard if you don't have a scoreboard. So see, that's not perfect, but it will be fine. So then all I normally do is I just glue, and excuse my messy glue. I was very productive yesterday and made a heap of tags, and bits and pieces ready for some things that I'm going to be putting in my Etsy shop. Now this is a little bit, just a fraction taller than the piece of paper, but that can be trimmed off later. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just going to put a little bit of glue, I'll just roughly down the middle on one side, and then you're going to tip your page over and just line it up square with one end, and just fold your hinge over and just press it down. So you've got this extra piece of paper here. It's like a flap, and see how I said that that's a little bit bigger than the paper, than this sheet of paper. That's okay, we can trim that down. So what I'm going to do then on this piece here, just to add another piece of paper, sorry, another bit of glue down the middle. Sorry, I'm probably trying to rush this a bit because I've got the house to myself. So it means I can actually do this video down in my craft space where my sewing machine and everything is. So I'm trying to get through it before my partner comes bowling through the door and makes a hell of a noise. So if you wanted to, you could leave that as it is, and then just, well, as I said, you don't have to sew. I'm going to sew, and you could just sew that, and that would actually be hinged, and then you've got pages for your journal that open or stand the right way. But what I like to do is I like to add a hinge on the inside as well, just for extra strength. So this time you're going to do your glue with the fold up, and you're just going to add that. Try and turn this around. Add that to as close to the center, maybe, you know, leave a little bit of space, close as you can to the center. Just wipe off any extra glue, and then fold that back down and add a little bit more glue there. Push that over and fold your page. And then what we'll do is we'll trim off that little bit of excess that we've got there. And see how they're not straight? That doesn't stress me out at all. You don't really see that. So we'll cut that off. So there you have a hinged page. As I said, you can leave that as it is. If you don't have a sewing machine, that's not a problem. If you don't have a sewing machine, maybe add a little bit more glue. I'm just not adding a lot of glue because I will be sewing over that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that to the side for the moment, and I'm just going to let that dry before I do run that through my sewing machine. And what I'll do is with these cards, I'll just do a smaller hinge, and I'm just going to use some of this cardstock. So once again, just cut your hinge. Do it at about 1 1/4 is a good. That works really well. So I'm only going to need 1 strip of this scrapbooking paper because the index cards aren't that tall. So what I would do is I would get my scoreboard, if I can find it under here in all this mess. I'm currently trying to organise my craft room again. It's just an ongoing thing, isn't it? I'm just running out of space, so We went and bought a couple of sets of drawers yesterday, just from Spotlight. Just trying to find my bone folder now. What have I done with it? We went to Spotlight yesterday and found some Recollections trolleys. I think there's got 10 drawers in each one. They're only A4 size, but what I wanted them for was to put right beside me as I'm crafting, so that I can have everything in there that I use all the time and just grab it as I need it, and then that leaves me more space to store other things. So what I do here is I'm just going to score right down the middle, and this isn't the actual bone folder for this scoreboard, but it will have to do because I can't find my other one. Oops, I'm going right off track there. Hang on, I'll just get down a bit closer and see what I'm doing. Once again, if it's not perfect, you can see that's crooked as anything, but that's okay. Now my neighbour's decided he's going to mow the lawn. So there's all sorts of noise happening. Okay, so we'll just get rid of that. So I hope you're all doing really well, getting a bit of craft time in. I've started a new job, and it's an amazing job, but it's tiring. Yeah, very busy, very busy store, and quite physical, as in, you know, a lot of unpacking and lugging boxes and that sort of thing. But I am enjoying it. Still get very nervous because there's still lots to learn, but I'm getting there. So as you can see, what I've done, I've just wrapped that round the index card, and I'll just do it with this piece. Just lined it up square with the top, just so that we get a hinge the right size. I'm just lining it up there and just trimming it off. So we've got this little bit left here. I wouldn't throw that away just because that's me, and you could use that to hinge some tags if you wanted to. Oh, excuse me, now I've got the hiccups. It's all happening. Okay, so the same thing with this. So what I'm going to do is, and I'll use this in a journal, I'm going to this will be obviously too wide for a journal. Now the phone's ringing. I'm just going to let it go. It will be too long for a normal journal, so what I'll do is I'll end up folding that in as a tuck in. So what we would do, please try and ignore the phone. It always happens when I try and video, and I'm not going to go through and do this again. So same thing, add this to the center of your hinge, making this look like hard work, and just press that down. I actually wanted to use that as the hinge piece on the outside, but that's okay, doesn't matter. And once again, down the center, and line up your other card. So don't put it right on the center of the fold there on the hinge, because you want it to fold, so you need to have a little bit of space. So just fold that over and press that down. Now I'm just using a clear craft glue that I get from Spotlight here in Australia. I just find that it works really well and dries really quickly. It is this one. I actually had to go and get some yesterday because I nearly ran out. So Crafter's Choice craft glue. It works on fabric and plastics, and it does. It's really, really good. So really smells though, and that's why I put it in this smaller bottle, because I can't stand using the big bottle. It gives me a headache. So that's one hinge done on one side. Once again, you can leave it as that. Just add a little bit of extra glue if you're not going to sew it, but I am going to sew mine. So so this one, I've got the script on the right way. So we'll just add a bit of glue there, and I'm going to glue, sorry, I've got the cap in my mouth. I'm going to glue that there. Hope my head isn't in frame. Just press that down, and then once again add some glue along there. And I've just realised I've got my really good tablecloth here. I was taking some photos for Etsy and Instagram, and I just went straight into video mode, so I just have to be careful I don't get anything on it. So I'm just going to press that down. So that takes a little bit longer because the cardstock is quite firm. But there you have your hinged piece. So now I probably would press that down, just burnish it with a bone folder. And I'd probably do the inside as well, just because the cardstock is a bit firmer, a bit heavier. And then once that is almost dry, that will be right to sew. And as I said, I would sew that. And my thought process with this is that I would fold these in and have them as a flip out in a journal. So you could add a little tablet of paper there, or you can do anything. So that's a page, a hinged page. So that's one that's not sewn. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly duck over here, my machine's over here, and just quickly run down this just to show you what it looks like. I'll be back in 2 ticks. I might just do one side, I'll see how I go, just so that you can get an idea of what it looks like. The other side too now that I'm here. So there we have it. So one unsewn hinge page, so works fine. As I said, if you're not sewing, that's fine, that's totally up to you. Just maybe add a little bit of extra glue, a little bit more glue than what I did on that one. I will actually sew mine. I'm not going to sew it and bore you to tears by doing that today. But here is your hinged page that's sewn. So it just adds a little bit more texture, because you will actually see that once it's sewn, the signature's sewn into your book. But it's not going to go anywhere, and because it's got 2 bits of paper, it's quite solid and quite sturdy, and that's going to stay in your journal until the day it gets ripped out, which hopefully you don't rip it out, but yeah. And I don't always put the glue right to the edge on some of mine. I like the ripped look. I like all that really old vintage grungy sort of look. So just do whatever makes you happy, really. So that's just to give you a little bit of an idea, guys, very quickly. Hopefully that's helped the ladies that were asking. If you have any questions, just leave them down below in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. If there's any other tutorials that you'd like to see, give me a yell out and I'll try and do what I can. I'll just give you a quick sneak peek of what I've been working on the last few days. I've been working on these little pockets that I'm actually going to be putting in my Etsy store. These are just a few of the pockets that I've completed, and inside they will have, and they haven't at the moment, because I'm still working on the bits and pieces that are to go in there. So this is, I'll just show you some of the things that I've been working on. Got lots more in the process, but these are little handmade ephemera packs, I guess you could call them. So this is just a elongated tag that I've made as a closure. These are all lined with coffee dyed paper, these little pockets, all sewn, and then I put 10 pieces of handmade ephemera inside there, and that's sold like that. So hopefully I will have them, or some of them, done anyway for my Etsy shop in the coming next couple of weeks, because they take a lot of time making all the handmade bits and pieces, but they're so much fun to make. So that's just a little bit of a sneak peek of what I've got coming to my store. So I'll leave a link down below for my store as well. So as I said, I hope that really helps the ladies that were asking how I hinge my pages. Once again, that's your hinged page that is sewn, and that's your hinged page without sewing. So both are beautiful and both work the same way, so you can do it whichever way you like. Alright guys, take care, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.